This is one of my youngest interviewees, raw vegan Emma. Emma Gray. She's absolutely a babe. I love her. I love her energy. And she's only 18 years young. How amazing is that? That this girl, this young, vibrant girl, is on this incredible path of healing and helping others. She can help the younger generation before it gets crazy, as we all know, when we start to neglect ourselves, when we start eating really unhealthy, chemical laden, undenatured foods, then we start to get the health issues. And you see a lot of these raw vegans now heal so much, and she shares with us her journey, how so young, how she knows about this path. She's helping so many others on her Instagram, sharing all the vibrant foods that she's eating. Enjoy the video. If you like this video, also thumbs up if you haven't already subscribed, and also don't forget to turn on the bell notification for more videos and to support the channel. So we have the amazing raw vegan Emma. So is it Emma or Emmeline I see on here? So you prefer Emma?
I prefer Emma. My full name though is Emma Line.
Emmeline, beautiful. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Emma. Where you're from, just some background, where you're living, and if you are on this path for more of the health. And I know you were vegan, so at first, and then you've gone to raw veganism. Share a little bit about you.
Yeah. So I've been born and raised in Colorado. So I'm a Colorado native, grew up in the mountains, playing outside. Like I just love the outdoors. I still live in Colorado right now. I'm going to school for health and wellness actually. So I'm in a college town and I'm going to school for integrative health and wellness, so studying all sorts of like coaching techniques to nutrition to just general like health and wellness and all sorts of, categories really. And then so about 2 years ago, I want to say in 2020, I really like committed to going raw vegan. Before that, I had gone vegan. My family had been kind of messing with the plant-based lifestyle, right? My mom had watched all the like vegan documentaries and we were all trying to get healthy. So we started, replacing stuff of like dairy milk to almond milk. And that was kind of like slow transitions and eventually phasing out meat and dairy and eggs and all that in a very slow kind of like baby steps.
Yeah.
And then finally I liked it. I was, eating more vegan, more plant-based, and I was feeling really good. I was, getting rid of some of my health challenges. And then I felt like fully committed to going vegan, right? I watched like this documentary just about like, the animals, and like it all kind of came together. And I finally was like, this is it. Like, no going back. I fully went vegan and I've never looked back. Best decision of my life. But after I went vegan, I started like looking into like, okay, like how do I really do this? Like what recipes can I make? What can I really do? And I started like watching people and they started like eating raw. And they'd be like, I ate all raw today and I felt so great. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, what's that? Like, what do you do? And so I started like, researching it a little bit more and getting into it. And people were like, this is like the best diet. You feel so great. Like, if you can do this, like, this is the ideal. And so I started doing that. And I would eat raw for a whole day, or I'd eat high raw, and I'd only have like a cooked meal at dinner. And I felt so great. And I started like getting rid of all my health challenges. And just had so much energy and so much like mental clarity. And so then I just went completely raw, and I've been that way, for about 2 years now.
Wow.
Probably next month will be 2 years, and it was so great. So.
And you're 18 as well, aren't you?
Yes, I'm 18. Yeah, I went vegan at a little bit after 16, and I've been yeah.
And is your family, are they all raw or vegan?
So no, my family's mostly like whole foods, plant-based, like vegan.
Yeah.
Again, like they're athletes, right? Both my parents are avid athletes, so they love the plant-based lifestyle, but they do like have cooked foods, but they actually are eating a lot more. Like ever since I went raw, they've eaten a
Yeah.
lot more like raw foods. Right, like my dad every lunch he has a smoothie bowl, right? And
Oh,
now he's like, I
amazing.
need a smoothie bowl, and he'll eat, sometimes he'll eat like breakfast and lunch, and dinner will be just like these awesome like fruit smoothie bowls, and it's just been great. Yeah, but we all stay pretty healthy. We all focus on like whole foods, plant-based, which
Right.
again, most families aren't that way. It happened very slowly and organically. There's been points where like, one person gives the other person a hard time by eating vegan, right? When we first went vegan, there were people in our family that like gave us a really hard time about it. And when I first went raw vegan, I got a really hard time about it because people thought I needed like bread and pasta and
Yeah.
rice like, to survive. They're like, you can't just eat fruit. Like
And
it's that's you
yeah,
have to eat something else. So
yeah.
it's been a very like slow transition. So that's just something like I know most people are like, well, you can do it because like your family's vegan. And it's like, well, yes, my family is vegan, but I feel like anyone can do it in any sort of circumstance as long as you have that right mentality.
Oh, you're so smart. Your age as well. Incredible to be on this path already. Wow. And it's so nice to see that your family are, on this lifestyle or even vegan, plant whole foods. And
Mhm.
that so you can see they inspired you to go like really work, help each other, and now you're inspiring them. So it's kind of flipped, hasn't it? You're inspiring them to
Yes.
have more
Yeah,
raw,
absolutely.
undenatured foods, and then
Yeah.
they try it, and over time I bet they'll be raw vegan, in time. And it is about those just baby steps, like you said. I'm glad you stressed that it was like a slow transition. That was the same for me. For some really, they've got some really serious health concerns. It's quite imperative to transition, or not even transition, just do it. Whereas those that are fairly healthy, been eating, I've been the same. I was 6 years prior a high raw vegan. Never thought I was going to go fully vegan, raw vegan. And then it was just like I feel so good on those days, like you're just like, well, let's incorporate more raw foods. Let's eat an abundance of fruits. So your diet is predominantly fruit based.
Yes, I do. I mean, it depends on what I can get. If I can get really good quality of fruit, I like love that. And will have like days or a week at a time or 2 weeks where I just do fruit. But I do love my veggies and I love having, really good salad. Just the other day I had like really good raw vegan tacos where I had like some like carrot walnut meat in there and some like, jicama wraps and pico. And I do love veggies and I think veggies are amazing as well. But
Yeah.
fruit is just next level. Having mono meals of fruit, that's definitely
Yeah.
next level. So
But you make it all look amazing. Your Instagram, if anyone just check her Instagram for delicious raw vegan foods. It's amazing. You're so creative. You love doing that, I see.
yeah, it's a hobby and I never thought it would turn into what it is. I love, I've always been very creative. I love photography and so I just kind of it was a very natural like hobby. It's just fun to, be creative with food. So,
And it's healthy. So it's a
yeah.
win-win for everybody, isn't it? For you, everyone else who's seeing the pictures and inspiring them to have more. It just if someone eats more raw, you see a lot of, some of my clients, they don't have many fruits or vegetables. And I'm like, oh, let's incorporate more, even if it's just for your breakfast, just have some smoothie bowls. And it's inspiring to see. I think we're very visual. So to see these in picture forms, how delicious they can look and vibrant. You make it look so vibrant. Can I just touch on your health benefit and the health benefit side though? What was the challenges that you was going through prior to vegan and raw vegan?
Oh yeah. So I a lot of people a lot of people would actually be shocked if they saw me now. Like I moved kind of in that transition period of going vegan and raw vegan. I moved and people back where I used to live are kind of shocked when they look back at me because I've lost so much weight and I've gotten so like strong. I used to kind of be I never got into like the scary category of like morbidly obese, but I think like BMI standards, I was like considered obese. I was just a very
Wow.
overweight teenager.
Yeah.
Because I binged eat, I ate junk food. I didn't really, I loved food, and so I just overate, and I just never could feel full. Right, I'd eat tons of food, and I'm just like, I need something else. Like I never, and looking back, it was probably because I didn't have that nutrition. Right, I was eating empty
Mm,
calories. I was eating
yeah.
white breads, empty, just not nutritional food. And so I was so hungry. And I was, I had hormone problems and my hormones were all over the place, and I'd have really, really bad, periods, and then I'd have, no periods, and they'd be all over the place. And then I had acne, and I also had like really bad like immune system. Like I'd get sick every month, which for a girl in high school was really, really hard because I would just be like at school and I'd be sick, I'd be tired. I had like warts all over my feet because of my immune system was just so broken. So I was like, I couldn't take my shoes off or my socks off at all. Even
Wow.
in the summer, I'd wear tennis shoes the whole time because I had, such like weird skin problems, eczema, acne all over my skin. And then yeah, just like brain fog, and like I never had like anything that was clinical. I never had clinical depression or anxiety, but I was a very, very anxious and sad teenager. Like I had panic attacks. I obsessed about school. I would get super anxious over every little thing. And then
Mm,
I'd get really depressed and I'd just be sad. And I just didn't know what was wrong. I was just sad.
yeah.
And I think if I had let that progress, it would have started to turn into something that was really like, clinical depression or panic disorder or general anxiety disorder. And I think it would have gotten a lot worse. I think I would have, probably fallen into that like obesity, diabetes, all
Yeah.
that kind of problems that
Serious
you
health
see with
issues.
people.
Yeah.
Um, and luckily, though, I was able to find it and I was able to catch it. And I was able to actually turn that around. I was able to lose weight, gain muscle, clear up my skin, boost my immune system, get all that energy back really quickly. Again, because, um, I am a little bit younger. I wasn't, it wasn't like 20 years. I know a lot of people are like, I've been overweight and sick for 20 years. I'm like, okay, it's going to take
Yeah.
some time to bounce back. So I was able to kind of start getting back into it after like 6 months.
Yeah, that's
I was,
good.
yeah, bounce back. But yeah, looking back, I'm like, I would have definitely, fallen down that hole. And I can see people that are down that hole. And I'm like, yeah, let's pull you out of there because, your health is
Before
just
it gets more
beginning. Yeah.
difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you always think you're invincible when you're younger. You always think, I can get away with it. I can eat whatever I want and drink whatever I want. Was you into sodas? Did you have a lot of soda?
Yeah, I did. I mean, there were phases where I would like try to be healthy and I'm like, no soda, but like I had everything, right? Like there was nothing that was off the table for me. Just because yeah, a lot of people think that as like kids you're invincible and you can eat junk food and you can
Yeah.
eat whatever, but it's like you really can't. And there's some kids that don't gain weight right away, but like talking to kids my age, even if they're skinny and they're eating junk food, they feel like crap and they
Yeah.
feel they have so many issues, whether it be mental or just energy. Like, you know, being young doesn't necessarily give you like a bypass, a pass to eat all the junk food. You're gonna have something going on.
That's
That's
it. And most
not good.
things, yeah, mental, emotional is related to the gut, isn't it? We start to find out, we don't associate that it's so related. What we eat, we are what we eat. I was skinny fat when I was young. I was always really skinny when I was at school. But I ate terrible, like so terrible. I didn't have, a great education brought up on what's good to eat. And I think, gosh, I don't even know how. The only thing, I'm so lucky in the sense that I didn't have really, really serious health issues, but it was going, well, my mental health was not strong, like you with anxiety. It's all linked, even though you was suffering from the acne and being overweight. That creates not just because of the gut and how those chemicals make you feel, and it's associated with the brain, but also because you were conscious of, I don't feel good, my weight, the acne. So it's all linked, and yeah, we're trying to catch those to don't let it get to that point. At least have awareness of that. Even plant-based, whole foods it's the next best thing on trying to focus more on the denatured raw foods. So to have that awareness at your age is incredible. I don't know anybody at your age that is, oh, wow, so mindful. But at least that, you know, you've had a lot of the inspiration from your family. They was conscious, wasn't they? They're athletes, like you say, they're training. Do you train and exercise as well?
Yes, I mean, I haven't, they do like races, they do like competitions. I haven't gotten too competitive yet. I'm also just, more busy with school. But yeah, we all are very active. We go hiking, biking, like all the different, activities that are very popular in Colorado, we love. Which is why like I was actually able to see a huge difference when I went raw vegan. Like we were all vegan and we all had this level, but like when I went raw, I just had so much more energy and I just felt, I recovered faster and I
Yeah.
had, more hydration and I just felt so great. And so that's been really fun to introduce just more fruits with my family because again, we were really good at getting like the rice bowls and healthy potatoes and all that stuff. But yeah, introducing more fruit to my family and now my whole family eats fruit and we all will, it's got to the point where our fruit volume is just constantly
Yeah.
growing because every day, my parents and siblings and we're all just eating more and more fruit. So it's been really fun to see.
You all live together, do you? You live with your family?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I currently, they live in like the town I'm going to school in. So I'm living with them while I finish out school.
Amazing. Yeah. And it's so nice to be at home in that environment and then study as well, because you can relate to them and then what you're doing on social media. Because you don't have any recipe books or anywhere to, I bet you get a lot of questions asking for personal coaching.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm currently working on a recipe book. I got so many requests that I decided that I'm going to work on a recipe book. It's still coming. I'm still working on creating more and more recipes. It's going to be big because I have a lot of recipes I want to share. But yeah, that's working on lots of recipes so I can help more people.
Yeah, yeah, I bet you get it all the time. Because when I looked on your, I was like, oh my goodness, I can't see any. Because people are like, I want your ebook. What else is she offering? And like right now, you focus on studying and then just sharing what you're learning. And I can see it in all your amazing, beautiful, vibrant posts. Really inspiring. I can't believe like there's nothing to offer yet. I mean, apart from all this knowledge, free knowledge as well that you're offering. Like I can imagine, yeah, you get bombarded with questions and asking, where's your ebooks? Because I was like, oh, I want our ebook because it looks amazing. Yeah, I think that's something definitely get on because people want it, don't they? They want to have this. I mean, you share so much for free. Is it just Insta that you're on, Emma? Are you on any other platform?
Yeah, I'm just on Instagram right now. I've been trying to venture out into more stuff, but yeah, Instagram is very familiar and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just trying. I'm still learning, right? I'm not a pioneer at this yet. I'm still trying to gather all my knowledge. But yeah, we're working on creating like that ebook to kind of put it all into one little, compartment kind of thing.
Yeah, we've got a big following. It's great to see someone so young and sharing a healthy, compassionate message. It's just incredible to see. It's really refreshing. Have you had in this journey like any detox, like deep, severe detox, any cravings?
Um, so I never have done like I still haven't done like a full like week-long juice fast. Like I love juices and I incorporate juices a lot. But I've never done like a severe like detox with that. I think I've just naturally slowly detoxed with fruit.
Yeah.
When I did, there was a time where I was just loving the fruit and it was during the summer and it was mostly like melons and mangoes and grapes and I ate that for probably like a month or two straight. During that period, I definitely got like some deeper detox done. My eyes started changing. I kind of always had like hazel eyes, right? When no one like it's like kind of green, kind of like a little blue in there. And they started going like a lot more blue. And now they're almost, they're probably like 80% blue, 20% greenish. So that was really crazy to see. I got like some headaches. I like lost a little bit more weight. And I kind of like got rid of some of that excess, but then I kind of gained it back in muscle. And then I did have like some cravings. Again, like most people do, I really craved like salt, and that's when I started incorporating some more like iodine and seaweeds, and salads and stuff. But yeah, really I haven't. I mean, I think eventually I want to start doing more like detox and stuff. But right now I've just been trying to like balance it of detoxing a little bit and then building with, healthy fats and salads and
Yeah.
lots of fruit. So
It might not even be necessary for you, because you're so young. I know you say your diet was quite poor, but you're seeing so many great benefits now. And just being raw, like with the undenatured foods, it's probably not even necessary. And the more you keep on this path, you're going to detox, but you're not going to get those intense, like for us who's had 20, 30 years, as old is, sometimes it's critical, for us to do cleanses. Are you being interested in any of the like the mono cleanses, like 3 days? Have you done any of those or
I've
interested?
done like I've done melons for like 3 or 4 days. And then I've
Yeah.
done like a day of just like mangoes and then a day of just like, more melons and then a day.
Well,
So I've done like a lot of like fruit cleansing, but I never like after I lost that initial weight and cleared up my skin and like I never had any super serious health challenges. I know some people come from this with like severe health challenges. I never came from that. So I never had to do like a 90-day juice fast.
yeah,
And I'm just trying to like maintain it because I think you're right. I think working on like how can I maintain this for my entire life is
yeah.
like really what I'm trying to focus on.
Yeah, that's a good drive to have, to know that, yeah, if you continue to eat in a standard diet, which I believe you'll never go back to that. I feel if you did, then that's where it's perhaps necessary if you've got some health issues, but very unlikely you're going to have any health issues. If they do come up, I think you'll quickly know. In regards to supplements, then, so you take iodine, you take those, or the
So
hair.
I've during that time where I really craved salt, I had like some like dulse flakes and like the seaweeds, right, which are kind of like more natural in like the sodium content, right? And I
Yeah,
had lots of celery juice where I kind of like
yeah.
dealt with my salt cravings through just getting more iodine in natural ways. I really I really like had I don't take supplements. I mean, I'm sure there's benefits to supplements, especially some, but I've just been more of like how can I get this naturally with food, right?
Same. Yeah,
Um so I'll do like some green powders, right? I have like some good quality, good source like green powders, right? Like barley grass juice powder and those kind of like greens I feel like are really good like supplements
yeah.
to get that extra like hit of greens. So I will do those. I've done a B12 supplement a little bit in the past. There's a lot of controversy around
I
B12, but I
know.
won't get into
Yeah,
that. But
yeah,
no, honestly, I feel like taking your blood, if someone really is concerned about supplements, I'm like, you know what, go to, a doctor, get your blood tested, see what you're really deficient in, supplement for the time being, and then start eating foods that have more of that, right? If you're deficient in
yes,
calcium, eat foods with more calcium, right? Get the figs, get all those like calcium rich foods, and
mm,
then, add a supplement in there just to make sure. And then get your blood tested again next year and see if you've improved and see how So
yeah,
that's why I've always felt like there's nothing I'm necessarily super deficient in. So I just try to get a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, and that's
yeah.
how I work.
Well, yeah, that I feel the same. Let's look at, depends on how deficient you are, but even the readings, if they're not everyone can really make, read the bloods. Do you know, like there's so many ranges in different countries, they have different. So I like to say, well, if you are really concerned, get the bloods done, but see a pattern. So I would maybe say, like, you check it in a month's time, you experiment,
Yeah.
you try it with the supplement, experiment and do it over 2 or 3 months, 3 times, and then see if you, because it's so up and down as well, and especially if people are going through detox, there's a lot of chaos, and sometimes it's not even worth checking unless they're really, let's say, those you have got the analytical ones and the detailed and they want every information. Then yeah, I make sure they don't just go for one, they go for quite a few, so they can get a good idea, because it is so up and down, especially if now they've tend now to eating better and more raw foods. But if they want to experiment, only introduce one of like whatever they're deficient in, like have the B12 supplement, and then see over 3 months, see if there's been a difference, and also how you feel, monitor how you're feeling. and then take it out and then try it for another 3 months. I say do that. Don't do too many things. And if you keep consistent with your diet, especially if it's raw foods, we can really start to see a pattern. It's when we start incorporating so many different foods. If we can have an idea, then we can see what is going on, the truth, because we're just going out there blindly. And sometimes like, oh, we're deficient, I'll just take this. And then they're taking all these multivitamins and we don't really know. It's just guesswork. And I'd rather see kick through replacing it with the foods. I think if once we've got the clean gut, maybe in cases of just starting this lifestyle and they've got low B12, then perhaps they could supplement. But the ultimate goal is really not relying on supplements, elimination, detoxification, and then being able to assimilate these foods, because it's all about assimilating. Most people are taking supplements and they're not even assimilating it. They can't even absorb. Yeah. So sometimes it's just a waste of money. And then you hear about all these supplements that aren't doing what they're supposed to do and they're just full of rubbish. So yeah, it's very controversial. It's very
it's a lot. And yeah. I think what I dislike about the whole supplement concept is people think that like, hey, if I take this multivitamin, I can eat whatever I want.
I know.
Like, hey, I don't like that. I don't like that excuse of like, I've taken my, B12 and this multivitamin and this, protein thing. And it's like, okay, well, how, like these powders, how do you even know if they're helping you? You're just using them as like, a safeguard of like, well, if I have this, I can eat whatever I want. And it's like, no, like that should only be used in the extreme cases of like, yeah, you're right. Like going every month and be like, okay, you really have a serious iron deficiency. You need to take this high quality iron supplement for 6 months and see how you improve.
Yeah.
Versus like people just are taking it blindly. And I feel like it's just expensive, urine at that point. You're not stimulating it, or you're getting way too much of it and it's unnecessary. And then you're eating junk food and then it's causing more problems because it's like, hey, you can't eat whatever you want and say that you had your multivitamin.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. I feel even when I was iron deficient when I was consuming animals. When I went vegan, I didn't have that problem. I did the same thing. I was checking my bloods over a period of time and I was like, I'm not even deficient in it anymore. And everyone says, oh, you need your iron, you're going to be weak on a vegan. And then even raw vegan, I've got no concerns, issues now. So yeah, it's one of those myths and misunderstandings that's being put out there and people are confused. And if we can, like I say, share this message that it doesn't have to be confusing, it's actually quite simple. And I like your concept of that, of it, the more simple we eat, the less, we don't have to overcomplicate this, bring it back to basics, back to nature. And you're on more of the food stance. I love seeing, I think everybody has their own way of sharing this message, and yours is the food, how vibrant and beautiful it looks, and it's enticing for people. So you're inspiring. And I bet you do get a lot of even those, that love to eat their meat are seeing this, wow, this food looks delicious. I love there's the mushrooms. We've got the king mushrooms here, and there's the oyster mushrooms. And they're meaty. Do you know? So if people are craving, when they see you're craving that meat, you can, or you feel like you want something a bit more filling, chunky, then there's a lot of like jackfruit, right? Unripe jackfruit. Do you use a lot of mushrooms in your recipes?
Yes. Mushrooms are one of my favorites. Yeah, they definitely have that great texture. I said a mushroom like taco meat, and that was great. I gave that to my family, and they were like, this is great. And I found with fruits and vegetables, any craving that you're having, like there is something that is a healthy replacement, right? Like if you were craving salt, there are salty fruits and vegetables, right? And if you're craving something like heavier, right, like get some mushrooms, get some jackfruit, get some, if you're craving fat, there's avocado, there's durian, like everything that, you need is in there, and every flavor, like there's so many flavors with fruits and vegetables. Like you really have so many options. And I don't, people ask like, how can you just eat, like, where's all the flavor? And it's like, the flavors are actually in the fruits and vegetables. Like meat and potatoes and rice, like there's not a lot of flavor in that. Those are very just like bland foods. We put spices and herbs and more veggies into that to make it delicious. And so
Yeah, it's giving alternatives, especially in that transition. And then your taste buds change and you start to enjoy what you thought once was boring. You know, you're like, I'm just having a plate of mangoes and it's so delicious, especially when you get the ripe,
Oh yeah.
juicy mangoes. It's so
Oh
satisfying.
yeah.
And you appreciate
Yeah.
it more, you know. So it's leaning into it, having the transition period, but then you just trust that you know that it's gonna these cravings are going to stop. Do you ever eat cooked food at all now? Has there ever been times?
I'm trying to think of the last time I've had cooked food. I it's really unappealing to me. Like I'm at the point where I never thought I would be, but I'm at the point where it's like it's not appealing and it's not I don't, think it's necessarily gonna poison you, right? Having some cooked rice or cooked potato, it's not poisonous, I'm not like super stingy about that, but it's just not as appealing to me. Like
Mm.
a mango, you were saying those plate of like juicy ripe mangoes taste way better to me than like a bowl of rice.
Yeah,
Um, if I was in a situation where I had zero access to fruit and zero access to vegetables, then I probably would go for like the Whole Foods. Let's steam some potatoes, let's steam some squash. Let's
yeah,
get a little bit of rice. That definitely I would again default to that over like any sort of animal products. But I really don't like on a daily basis. I really will not feel
yeah.
drawn to that. And yeah, I can't even remember the last time, but
And you have really good fruit and vegetables there then. There's some high quality
yeah,
fruit
I
and veg.
mean, it's not tropical. It's not like it's not. I'm not gonna lie, it's not tropical, but I make it my job to source really good quality fruits and get those in good quantities. And occasionally we do have like imported fruits, right? Recently, I was able to find like a chirimoya and a meme sapote, and those
Mm,
kind of like more exotic fruits. Like we get jackfruit. There's a certain season where jackfruit actually gets imported, but
yeah,
for the most part, I get like we get really good mangoes here. I've been loving the mangoes here. And we get
okay.
melons, peaches, like we get lots of stone fruits that are amazing. And
Yeah,
oranges are about to come into season here. And like I do get good quality fruits. But yeah, I do also have a winter. Like Colorado has very cold
I,
winters.
I was going to ask you
But
about
I
that
still am
winter.
able, yeah. Yeah, I'm still able
Yeah,
to do it. And still, it was, it's different, and you have to, get a little bit more creative in the kitchen and do a little bit more like cooking prep versus just mono meals. But I've
yeah,
been able to do it and I've been able to love it. And
yeah.
sometimes in the winter, I get even better fruits. I get like the kiwis and the oranges and all those like, winter fruits. So,
Did you feel it affect? So you've had two winters now on the raw
yeah.
food. Did you feel it affect? Did you feel more cold? Any difference in eating raw, or was it just the same? Did you notice any difference?
Yes. I think the first winter when I first went raw vegan, I like my staple was like smoothies. When I first went raw vegan, I was just like living off of smoothies, right? Because it was like I hadn't really figured out how to buy fruit at stores, but I know where frozen fruit is, so I would just like live off of smoothies. And then winter time came and I
Oh,
was like, I am so cold. And
yeah.
I would just like sip my smoothie in like blankets and just like I had like a heated blanket and I was just like, this is so cold. And so next winter I had a lot less smoothies. I still, couldn't resist like an occasional like green smoothie, but
Yeah,
a lot less smoothies and more just like fruit mono meals. Right. I would do lots of bananas, apples, a little bit more like not gourmet, but like I do like apple porridge and
yeah,
bananas with cinnamon, like a little bit more warmer foods. But then again, I think there's also something to be said of like I never ate my food out in the snow. People ask me like how I'm like, well, my house is heated. Like my
yeah,
house stays kind of the temperature year round. I might wear, pants instead of shorts, and I might wear, a sweatshirt instead of a t-shirt, but like your house kind of stays the same temperature year round.
yeah,
I don't, so it's a thing of I was once I figured that out of like, hey, just eat food at room temperature and you stay the same.
yeah,
Occasionally I would have like herbal tea if I was really, really cold. I'd like boil water at really low temperatures and make like peppermint tea. That's probably considered cooked. I'd have that maybe, I don't know, 3, 4 times during the winter if I was really cold or I was just outside all day and I was super cold and I needed to bring something warm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd suggest if you're trying, to warm yourself up as a raw vegan in the winter to just drink tea. And that
Yeah.
like warms you up way more than like any sort of like cooked sort of food
Mhm.
will.
Oh, exercise. I really struggled.
Oh yeah.
I was exercising all the time, moving around, and I'd always wear my big fleeces instead of having because I didn't like, enjoy the heating, but there was times I had to have it on, especially before bed. So I would be sat there and I worked from home, so I was always freezing, and I was like, oh my goodness, I wasn't fully raw back when I was in England. I've been here now 6 years in Thailand, and I really, yeah, that was the one thing I can give lots of tips on. Well, one, I wasn't fully raw, but when I was eating mostly raw during the day, I would just move, just get out, go outside, walk the dogs, get home, make a hot bath, I'd jog on the spot, get my body moving a little bit and then put their clothes on. Yeah, if you're coming in and you're absolutely freezing. I didn't have a lot of herbal teas, but that's a great tip for people. Herbal teas, I feel this
Yeah.
I don't feel it's going to hurt too much, and there's so many great herbs out there. And you don't even, I learned as well, only last year, that in the Vitamix, you can blend it and it's not overheat, it's not over the 47. So I was like,
Yeah.
I knew this. I made mango and banana like custard and it was warm, not,
Yeah.
so I was just,
I've
so
done that
I struggled with
before.
that too. I'd gone from having all these smoothies with the frozen fruits and been absolutely freezing in the winter. And I'm like, I'm all fleeced up. Why am I drinking this cold drink when I only had to, I could just put all the room temperature
Yeah.
fruit in it, not the ice.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great tip. Yeah, I still do smoothies in the winter, but it's just like bananas and room temperature water. And then,
Yeah.
I pour that over, cut up strawberries. And it's like, yeah, I definitely agree with you though. Exercise actually in particular is probably my biggest tip. Again, that first year it was herbal teas got me through it, but like
Yeah.
honestly, last winter and I'm thinking kind of this winter, exercise was a game changer. Just, doing like a floor workout, doing some squats, doing some
Yeah.
jogging in place, right? I have a rebounder, right?
I was just gonna
Jumping.
say rebounder.
Yeah.
They're amazing. They'll warm you up in a few
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah. And then yeah, I get to that point where I'm like sweating and I'm shedding layers. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I actually might need a smoothie. I might need a cold green smoothie
Yeah.
because I'm hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting your body moving is way, that's really what's gonna keep you warm.
Yeah.
Um,
And you never was tempted to. So you seem to have not come from. I suppose you did at times. You was eating a lot of junk, but emotional comfort. You never had that. I was speaking to Jillian very recently, and she said she never experienced. And only a few years ago, when she was actually on the roll, when she went through some serious challenges, that she started to use food to comfort eat. Did you ever go through that period through
yeah.
before, or yeah, you did, yeah.
I mean,
You
I was
stressed.
always I kind of touched on it. I was always kind of like a big foodie person. I don't think I ever like ate out of like anxiety, but I definitely was that person that just ate out of like boredom. And there
Yeah,
were some times that I even like binge eat and I just like I get really like emotional and I like binge eat and I would use food as comfort. Especially
yeah,
like certain foods, right? Like certain foods from my childhood, I would be like, oh, like I'm just, remember this, right? Like for me it was like burritos, right? Like the
mm,
bean burritos. I was like, that's my comfort food.
yeah,
Um, and it was vegan. So I was like, and so when I went vegan, I wasn't raw. I'd eat those a lot and I'd kind of overeat on those.
yeah,
And then when I went raw vegan, actually, it was really fun to see the difference because I started eating fruit. And then if I had that like emotional need to eat, I'd just be like, okay, well, I'm just gonna eat fruit. And so I eat a lot of fruit. And I'd even
yeah,
there was a couple of times where I eat so much like my stomach hurt and it was like,
yeah,
you know, so like the melon belly where I ate so much, I
yeah,
ate like a whole watermelon, over a couple hours and I was like, oh, I'm so full. Um, but then I like wouldn't feel those bad side effects, right? Like when you binge eat on junk
yeah.
food, you feel like crap for days. Like you just
I
you're
know.
out. Versus when I ate like the melon, I'd wake up the next day and be like, I'm okay. Like I
Yeah,
feel good.
I've
I
got
have
away with
energy. Like,
that.
yeah. And so that's why I kind of started doing. I was like, you know what? If I feel emotional, I'm just going to eat fruit. And it started actually changing it where now I generally don't have a lot of those like emotional needs to eat fruit. You know, sometimes I still will get stressed and I'll just be like, I need food. Like I
Mm,
haven't eaten in 6 hours. So I was so busy. But for the most part, I have like I feel like not that like fruit has like healed my mental health, but I definitely feel like fruit has made me happier and a more like conscious person
yeah.
to the point where I can like start working on my mental and emotional health, be more aware of myself and like, oh, I'm feeling really stressed. I'm gonna go meditate, right? I'm feeling really anxious. I'm just, feelings. And I feel like fruit has definitely made me like giving me enough energy and made me aware enough that I'm like, oh, I can actually take care of my mental health and then I can take care of my physical needs of hunger and it doesn't have to, be connected of every time I'm stressed I eat. So
Yeah. You seem to like, I find with myself, you don't have that hangry feeling, that intense when you get hungry. It's a natural, just, yeah, I'm ready to eat rather than give me something now, and you go into that crazy mode. Do you feel the same?
yeah, absolutely. I've had times where it was, me and my friends or me and my family have been out, on a hike or some sort of activity, and they're just like, I need food right now. And they're just like they got that like look in their eye where they're like, I
Yeah.
need food right now. We go and we get food and they'd be like, I need food. And I'd just be like, I'm fine, like whatever, right? And they'd
Yeah.
be like, how do you not need food? And they'd like pack food in the car. And I'm like, I can wait till we get home, like I can wait
Yeah.
another hour. I'm fine. And when I did eat food, I'm like, this is great. And it felt, good to eat. And I had the hunger cues, but it wasn't at all like
Yes.
that, starvation of like, I'm gonna pass out. It was
I
like,
know.
food is good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's a lot of it's mental, but it's physical as well because you those parasites are just they want in that fix, that's what you feel like you're uncontrollable. It's so liberating. That was one thing I probably take for granted that feeling because you don't realize how angry and tense people can get when they're hungry. And yeah, wow, like and I see people
Absolutely.
stashing so much food. We go for short hikes and they've got so much in their backpack, and I'm like, we're going to go for a couple of hours. We're not going to stop. And they think because they're using
Yeah.
up a lot of energy, they're going to need. I'm like, we're hiking. You'll be surprised at how long you can last without food, and it's actually going to be. You'll feel better rather than keep bringing those insulin levels. Yeah, I'm learning more about the fasting and not having. I think I was always conscious of when I coach my clients of I don't do too many things at once. If you're going raw, I always focus on more the raw foods, whole foods, as much as possible. Fasting can come later when we start to heal a lot of our emotional needs and these the binge eating and so because I know fasting can bring up a lot of intense feelings, so people then go back to binge eating. It's a vicious cycle, but over time, fasting for many is such a not even just fasting for long periods, but intermittent fasting. So I really encourage
Yeah.
intermittent fasting on a regular basis consistently, just to give that digestion a rest. Even I think not there's not a lot of people eating raw food, so most will benefit. It's not necessary. Well, who could say? Some people try it even on the raw vegan lifestyle, been doing ease and they fast, the intermittent fast, like Ted Carr. He sees so many benefits from intermittent fasting, and I feel the same alongside raw foods. It's not even just the giving the digestion a rest, but it's the mental clarity. It's like when you go on a juice cleanse, that feels some people want to stay on a juice cleanse forever. They can't because you not always want to be in cleansing. But if you want to
Mhm.
experience those feelings, that lightness and the connection in a lot deeper way, then I do encourage the intermittent fasting. Have you ever done intermittent fasting?
It's so funny that you mentioned that because I actually do intermittent fast. Like
Yeah.
I pretty much every day. There's occasional days where I haven't. I probably like 90% of the year I intermittent fast.
Yeah.
Range of 16 to 18 hours usually without
Same.
food and then the rest with food. But I love it. I personally, and just like what you said, I don't necessarily talk about it a ton because it's like a personal choice of that. I feel really great in intermittent fasting. Other people, they can't get enough like raw food with when the intermittent fast. When I was in the beginning, I didn't have like the capacity, right? I ate 2 bananas and I was full,
Yeah.
right? I didn't have that like volume yet. And so I had to eat like little, 6 meals a day. But now that I've, built up to that raw food level, I can eat a huge, 1,000-calorie meal, and that's my meal, and I'll have that at noon, right? And then I'll have another meal at 5.
Yeah.
And I'm able to kind of like intermittent fast, and I love it. I feel my focus is better, my energy is better, I sleep better.
Yeah.
Intermittent fasting is really, really, really cool as long as you do it right, as long as you make up for those calories that you missed, and like
Yeah.
do it in the correct way, which is hard at first. That's why I don't recommend it to people, or
Yeah.
talk about you have to do this to be successful. I think you could be successful both ways, but I personally love it. So do you
Yeah.
intermittent fast as well?
Yeah, daily. Yeah, yeah. Pretty much 90, 95. Yeah, 95% I do. Yeah, I can't eat constantly throughout. Like I used to in the beginning, like even high raw. For the past 8.5 years, I've been intermittent fasting. And oh no, six, just over 6 years. I would say solid for the last 5. But before then,
Mhm.
constantly eating in the morning and at lunch and at dinner and then snacks in between. No wonder why I felt heavy. And like I feel this actually helps with the raw foods at times, especially if you've got the experience, like you say in the beginning, you don't really want to be doing too many things. But over
Yeah.
time you do start to see like we don't constantly need to eat it. We're bombarded
Yeah.
with this. Just it's just part of the conditioning that we constantly got to consume, and this is what keeps us in this low vibration. And even like with heavy raw foods, I know. I saw that you don't eat cashews. Then you're allergic to cashews.
I've had a mild allergy to cashews ever since, when I went vegan, we started getting more like nuts and seeds. And cashews and pistachios kind of give me like a slight, like not like a severe, but like an itchy tongue, something like a little like
Oh,
annoyance in the throat, which I know is probably a deeper sign of like needing to heal a little bit more and work on my gut health. But
yeah,
I haven't messed with it too much because again, I don't eat a lot of like gourmet meals. I don't. I will eat like occasional nuts and like dressings and stuff, and seeds, hemp seeds, chia seeds. But I
yeah.
don't mess with a ton of nuts. Like I don't have handfuls of nuts ever.
Yeah,
I
that's
really
probably
try to
better
focus on.
actually. That's why you'll keep your energy stable. Because I notice when I
Yeah,
have too much nuts, they can be quite addictive. And when I have too many, I do feel more sluggish. I don't feel as good. So it's probably better in a
yeah,
way. But also, I mean, there is a lot of thoughts, a lot of beliefs on that nuts. Not everyone likes the nuts in the raw vegan movement. Depends on what sort of diet there's so many diets within the raw foods. I try not
yeah,
to be too
absolutely.
dogmatic about it and go with your own test experiment for yourself. And like for you, you've
Yeah,
experienced
absolutely.
this, but now, yeah, you'd rather just leave those alone. And probably, maybe in the future, you might have more, but you might not. It might not work for you. So yeah, go
Yeah,
with your own experimentation.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, my own intuition, what I feel, and again, like sometimes I'll have like I love using nuts occasionally in like recipes, right? Like using walnuts in like a taco meat or a raw burger and stuff. But I definitely feel like if I eat nuts by the handful, which I have, especially when like traveling or on vacation, when I like am kind of like running all, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna get some almonds, right? And those are great when you're in like a tough situation where you're like, I need something to eat and I'm like, don't have anything.
Yeah.
Like nuts are a great backup food, but like eating them daily, like I kind of did that in the very, very beginning. I'd have like a handful of nuts at night and I kind of found myself like going back to that. And I never really had that like satisfaction. I think with fruit, you kind of hit that satisfaction really easily, right?
Yeah.
You have a plate of mangoes and you're like, I'm great. Like I don't need food. I'm gonna go do my work and I'm gonna go like have a good afternoon. Like I'm fine. Versus like if you have nuts, it's like I'm going to come back to that every 20 minutes and I'm just going to keep eating.
Yeah, it has addiction. I definitely believe that. But all with the fruit, like you said, there's that point where you want to feel stuff because you're trying to feel emotional needs. You're trying to fill it with another need. When if you've got that awareness, it's all mindfulness, isn't it? And this is what I find raw food really allows you to step into the present and be more conscious. It's good to have like your age as well. I'm so envious that you have this knowledge now at your age and helping others. How are your friends? Have you inspired others, or do they just think you're crazy? what your circle, friends of circle like?
It depends. I've had some friends that have just like totally been like weirded out. I've had some friends that are just like, I don't know how you do, like you're crazy. I don't know how you do it, like you weird health nut. And I'm that friend that brings, the veggies and guacamole to the parties, and I bring the huge fruit trays. And it's funny because as crazy as they think I am, they're always like, I remember one Christmas I went to this big party and I brought this like huge tray of fruit, right? Like pineapples and pomegranates and all these fun fruits. And I put it down. I'm like the only healthy option, right? It's like just the fruit. Everything else, like cinnamon rolls and like shrimp, like all this crazy like junk food for Christmas. And everyone was eating the fruit. Like nobody else was really eating a lot of the other stuff, but everyone, all their plates had fruit. And so as crazy as they thought I was, they all were like, this is such good fruit. Like, what is this? This is pomegranate. I've never had this before. And it was at the point where I was like, I like barely got any fruit because like they loved it. So it's really fun to like see that and to inspire people. I've had other people that I've been closer to, like closer friends, that have actually like been really interested in the vegan lifestyle. Not because I pushed it. I'd known them for like a year and they watched me be vegan for like an entire year. The whole time being like, it's not for me. Like you do you be vegan. I don't really want to be vegan. And then like eventually after like a year, they'd like come to me and they'd be like, I kind of want to like get healthy. I want to like start feeling good. I think I should start eating like less meat. And I'd be like, oh, okay. So you definitely have to be patient with people. Some people will never turn vegan. I've had some people that are like, you're gonna eat, steak and potatoes till the day you die because that's just your choice, and you're not
say never. Some people, I have been totally shocked by one of my really good friends. Never ever thought he would go vegan, and he's a hardcore activist now. And honestly, he was beer, meat every meal, going to the pub, always out having kebabs, the worst diet you can think of. He did you can't out-train a poor diet, that's what I used to say to him. But he was like, I'm running to eat what I want. And then he came around more for the ethical side. I am direct at times with some people when I generally, I care about everyone. When people say, I've got some friends in the vegan movement, I don't care how you do it for health, do it for the animals. But I'm both. I'm like, do it for the animals, do it for health. I'm quite direct. I have a fiery nature. But there were times sometimes you learn very early on that you can share and say things, but you're planting seeds, you always. So for me now, the fact that he did go vegan gives me hope for him. I'm like, I'll never, like, you never know who you're going to, change and plant seeds. So yeah, never say never. It does happen. I am still shocked to this day. He was definitely someone I never thought.
It definitely gives me hope though. And I loved how you said planting seeds because sometimes I remember like way back before I went vegan, I had like a few friends that were vegan, like, years before. And, grade school, I was like, oh, why don't you eat meat? Like, that's so weird, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm like this hardcore raw vegan. So yeah, you definitely gotta like plant seeds. Some people you might like talk to them and they don't ever like show interest. And then 10 years later, you find out that they went vegan. But yeah, I think sharing is really important because if people didn't share with me, if I didn't like go out and seek that information and people share, like I would have never found it. So that's why I love talking to people about it and sharing on Instagram that's how I would win, and it changed my life for the infinite better. So
Yeah, like I said, it's a win-win. And what you're sharing, you're doing it in a lot of a more softer and inspirational and showing them what you can replace. We all have different messages in how we come about it. And I really enjoyed do you ever know Gary Yavosky? He was quite
Yes.
direct.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of vegans as well don't like his message. I loved it. That's what really cemented.
Yes.
I was like, he's talking real. I love this guy. And some people are just like, no, not for me. That's puts me off. Everyone has different ways of sharing. And
Yes.
I mix between being direct, no BS. And I do like the stuff,
Yeah.
we have to heal, we have to go through, and it's love and understanding. Um, but whatever way gets it out there, we're just sharing what we believe is from the
Yeah.
heart. And it's so nice to see so many others doing, who are on the same path, especially raw vegan. Even for me, like I didn't even think I'd be fully raw. I was many years. I was like, when I 8 years ago when I was introduced to this lifestyle, well, 10 years ago actually, I met a fruitarian, and I was like, not for me, but I'm interested. Definitely more fruits and vegetables. And then high raw with the raw till dinner. I was doing raw till 4
Yeah.
for many years. Loved it, but I could not give up my starches. But it's like those who says I can't give up my meat. I could not give up my starches. I couldn't give up my raw vegan
Yeah.
mock meats at times. Now I actually find that quite repulsive, like the mock meats now. I'm like, oh no, it
Mhm.
just feels just not nourishing. It's not nourishing to my soul. So now and then I have the mush. I when I have those where I feel I want something heavier and a little bit more greasy. Sometimes I realize that's just because I feel I need to ground and I'm using food to ground. I now look to other sources, and that's what your Instagram is great for. And I see all these ideas. I'm like, yeah, because at first I'm like, I'm not really sharing much of the food. And I think there's a place for sharing the food. It's really important. And when people come to me, they always want recipes. I'm like, I'm not the girl for recipes. I eat very simple. So I share
Yeah.
your Instagram. So we all have our unique way of sharing this message, veganism, ethical and health. And I'm so glad that you are here and on this journey, this sacred journey. And is it exciting for you? You feel because already you're studying. This is your path, isn't it? You want to help others.
It is really exciting. I'm really grateful that I was able to find this so young because I feel like I can learn so much, and I feel like, of course everyone can. You can start this at any age, but I'm really excited because yeah, I'm just getting started. And I have so much, time that I'm so excited to learn and to grow and to keep going. And I'm so excited to keep learning and seeing how the vegan and health community like evolves. I
Yeah.
definitely have seen how it's, changed a little bit. And I love all the vegan messages, just like you were saying, right? Those like really bold vegan messages. That's actually what changed me. Like I was plant-based for so long, for a couple 6 months to a year. And it was only when someone like looked me in the eye and they're like, why are you eating meat? Like, look at all this stuff. Like, what is wrong? Stop. Like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, oh, yeah, like be straightforward, just tell me. And just that's what changed me to be vegan. So
Yeah. Really cements it, doesn't it? Really reinforces it. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. But then again, yeah, we need people that give recipe books and give inspiration and just help people realize, hey, fruit's not scary. Like I can teach you how to, buy more fruit, use more fruit. Some people have like apples and bananas and that's it. And they're like, what's this? Like, I don't even know how to cut a mango, right?
Yeah.
Someone kept asking me to like create a reel of how to cut a mango. And I felt like so dumb making it, but like so many people loved it and they're like, I didn't know. And I was like, who knew that people need to be taught how to cut up a fruit? But if
Yeah.
that's what people
You'll
need,
be
like I'm here.
surprised. You'll be so same
Yeah,
with me. I didn't know how to cut up a mango a few years ago. I was like, I saw
yeah,
someone do it and I was like, oh my God, that's the easiest way to cut up a mango. I'm messing around peeling it. I'm like, you just could cut it. I'm
yeah,
like, and then I shared the video and it inspired others. Others was even saying, wow, oh, they don't even know what a fruit, we always like from England, it was always apples and bananas. I didn't know about the
yeah,
abundance of other fruits. I'm like, I could never go raw or fruitarian because there's what bananas and apples and oranges. I
yeah,
actually don't have much apples because that was only one fruit that we ever really ate when I was younger. Now I see all this abundance of other fruits. I'm like, Durian. Who would have thought I would have loved durian? It's one of my favorite fruits. Have you had durian?
Yeah. I have durian is probably one of the few fruits that I have not had yet, and I'm planning to get my hands on some because I'm so excited to try it. But yeah, who knew jackfruit existed and like cherimoya and all these
Yeah.
amazing fruits, and that's really what I'm like trying to like show people like, hey, like there is more to just apples, bananas, and oranges. Like there's
Yeah.
tons of different fruits.
Yeah, even seasonal and where they are as well. They don't realize these other fruits that they can try.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it is just opening up
yeah, yeah.
that perspective.
Even just like varieties of fruits. I know last year I went to an apple orchard that was like close by to my house, right? And again, you're right, apples weren't my highest excitement, having all these mangoes and stuff. But when I went and I was like able to pick the apple off the tree and there was
Oh,
hundreds of different varieties of the apples, it was actually really fun because each apple tasted like really different and they were so fresh. It was like fruit's really fun and there's lots of varieties. Like the flavors are really endless.
yeah. Yeah, you forget about that. There's so many different varieties of that fruit as well, of that species. So you forget. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not against, open-mindedness. I think it gives you that appreciation of how long it takes for fruit and just what you're consuming. We're so quick at just taking it out of the market or the shop and just eating it in these packaged foods when they're just dead foods. Let's be appreciative of how it grows. Like that brings you back to really understanding what our real food is. These are the real fast foods. We can easily pick up fruit from most places. I know some places, oh gosh, when I was in Italy, there was a real struggle to actually find fruit, but you ask the locals, find where the markets are. So do you go to the same markets? Do you have a wholesaler? Do you have like, I used to always have a close deal
Yeah.
with them, my
Yeah,
wholesaler.
it does. It kind of depends on the season. Like right now, there's like peach stands all over town, right? Of just like these people that have like, some wholesale, you know, place and we're able to get peaches by like the case. We get huge cases of
I miss
peaches.
peaches.
Oh,
Love peaches.
so good. I'm staying with apples, right? We have like apple orchards, and even we have like friends that have apple trees in their yards and pear trees, right? And so we'll get that in big quantities. Other times, I do like our grocery stores here are pretty good. We have one in particular that does like wholesale, so I'll get like a whole box of mangoes, and it has like 10 huge mangoes in it for $8, and
Yeah.
different really good deals. Which is really, really great. And then, yeah, other times it's like, yeah, going and getting like less, there are times when I travel that I like, it's hard to find fruit, but that's when you just kind of fall back on frozen fruit and bananas and apples. And, you spice it up a little bit with like some cinnamon or something, or you just,
Yeah.
enjoy the simplicity.
Yeah. Go back to just enjoying not having to have so much variety in one meal. I'm coming away from that thinking so much variety is what's potentially keeping us addicted. And for me, it was, if I have too much of anything, like just keep it simple. And then you're not having that concern when you are traveling. Do you go to vegan restaurants or raw vegan restaurants at all? Or do you predominantly make your creations at home?
Yeah, they don't. The town that I live in has lots of great like plant-based options, which is really great. But like raw foods, it's probably just like salads and smoothie bowls. There's not a lot of gourmet. If I go down to Denver, right, Colorado, the
Yeah.
capital is Denver. They do have some like raw foods. So I've done those like occasionally, maybe like 2 or 3 times in my whole time. And those are great, right? When you eat like the little like the gourmet lasagna, that's like really fun in the moment.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I love making my own food. Like I
Yeah.
I will go out and get smoothie bowls on occasion, right? If I'm out with friends, we all want to get something. I'm like, oh, let's go to smoothie bowls, and get a smoothie and those kind of acai bowls. But for the most part, I love making my own food. Like I find it so, satisfying to like know the source of the food, make it yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and it's also just like cheaper. I eat more, right? I eat big
Yeah. And you
smoothie
can have
bowls, right?
more.
Like the
You
little
it's
tiny
bigger.
cup.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I need a whole bowl.
Yeah.
So
If the raw vegan, if you had
yes,
raw vegan places there, would you be going more often, or would you still prefer to be at home creating your own?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I would use that as a tool to like introduce other people to raw foods because I feel like
Yeah,
that can be fun. Like, how can I be raw? I miss lasagna, right?
yeah,
I need my, whatever. But then again, I also am that person that's like, I eat so simply and I eat very like plainly. I don't put a lot of like fat or salt or like other, stuff into my foods. I eat very like stuff that's going to make me feel good and I don't feel sluggish after.
yeah,
So it's not been a huge temptation, right? Like I will make raw gourmet foods really just for other people. And sometimes for me, there's a couple, gourmet foods that I really like. But for the most part, I could eat like mono meals all day and be like the world's happiest person. So
yeah. Wow, wow. So to know that realization is incredible. So we'll come to the end of this. Oh, it's so amazing. I definitely want you back on the
yeah,
channel. I'm going to ask people questions. So when you're next back on, we've got lots of questions from others, if that's okay with you. And
yeah, absolutely.
if you could give a takeaway of something that you felt was very valuable on your journey of raw foods, what would you say? It could be one or two. What would you say was the most sort of like changing, very valuable that you would have liked to have known?
Um, okay, so my top two would probably be one would be to educate yourself. I feel like uh that really made a difference in my journey is to realize that like, hey, you know, getting out there and finding those other raw food people and just like diving full in, right? When I first went raw vegan, every day I would watch like some sort of like raw vegan inspired like video on YouTube or podcast. Like I remember watching your videos and your different like podcasts and YouTube videos and different stuff where like you were being interviewed and just like watching that and like learning from other people I think is really valuable. There's a lot of knowledge out there, but yeah, finding those people that live like how you want to live, like you have been such a big inspiration. Like I want to live like that person. What's she doing? Like let's learn from her.
Yeah,
And then my second tip would just be to realize that like you're capable of that. Like you're able to control your health, right? You are the biggest you're the only person that can control your health, right? You are responsible for your well-being. So realizing that you have that power to change and it's, you can't blame anyone for your health problems, right? Your diseases, or I blamed my genetics, I blamed bad luck for so many years. I'm like, I'm fat because, that's my genetics. So
yeah.
realizing that like you can change your health and you're capable of change is like really empowering.
It really is. You take that power back. Yeah, it's good
Yeah.
to be in it and be in that pain, but when we know that actually we can do something, we don't have to give the power way back, to others, to other circumstances. We can be the change, and we're seeing, like you said, when you've got these others sharing this lifestyle and how they're thriving on it and how they're making it work. It really
Yeah.
reassures you that you're not alone and that this is the path and that you've got more like-minded souls around you. It's really, yeah, having all that together, that's amazing takeaways. That's what I would say. Definitely helped me knowing that there's communities out there and there's people that are making it work no matter where they are, what their financial status is and what they're doing, who they're with, their environment, they're making it work. So thank you so much, Emma. Thank you for being on. So we always end it with be, feel, and stay Rawlicious. And then we'll do a kiss. And then we'll do like, when we edit, we'll do a little twinkle. So it looks pretty. Are you ready for that?
Yes, absolutely.
Let's do it. So
Okay.
be, feel,
Feel
stay
and stay
Rawlicious.
Rawlicious.
Thank you so much, Emma.
That was so cute.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.